Okay, and get the recording going. I know people are interested in this one. It is one of the more, I guess not more, one of the harder ones, a little bit more confusing labs in React. I know I have an issue pulled up on it because I don't like the way it's set up and I think it's confusing, but that's why we're going through it too. So let me move a couple things around on my screen real quick. And then let's get this. Get that installed. Okay. Got any questions or anything, throw them into the chat. I'll keep that open. All right. All right, let's make sure this is working right. Okay, got our test going. Good. I'm able to update. Oh, that's fine. So let's look at this README. Building a small React app where you'll update state in response to an XHR payload and pass props among components to handle updates. Okay. And while we're going through this, really ask questions about props and state and things like that. I think the lab does a decent job showing those things, but I think maybe more discussion on some things if you have questions on them might help some stuff. So yeah, just let me know if you got questions. Time to pull out all your hard-earned knowledge. Okay. High level, several components. There are several components that need your attention. Can be found in the components folder. Okay. So they're all already created for us, which is nice. All right, pet. Let's start with pet. Switch. I got these little zoom things all over the place. Okay. There, that should be better. All right. So that's doing its thing. Let's go back down to pet. It should have a pet prop. Use attributes in this data to render the pet card correctly. It should show the pet's name, type, age, and weight based on the pet's gender. The component also needs to contain either a male or female symbol, which is cool. I never really knew that you could do that with those symbols like that. Should have an is adopted prop. Using this prop, render the correct button on the pet's card. If the pet is adopted, show the disabled button. Otherwise, show the primary button to adopt the pet. Should have an unadopt pet callback prop. This prop gets called when the pet's ID. This callback prop gets called when the pet's ID when the user clicks the adopt pet button, not when the click is when they click the disabled button. Okay. That's worded weird, but okay. Let's get started on pet. see. Get my notes. Okay. Import React. We got React. We got our component with its constructor and super. Export default pet. All right. So we need a pet prop. Have a pet prop. So let's see. Pet type, age, weight. Show the pet's name, type, age, and weight based on the pet's. Okay, I got where we're going here. All right. So this component is going to get props passed to it. So there are props that we don't know of or we haven't seen yet that are coming into this component, and we're going to use those props. So we're going to say that we have is adopted prop and a pet prop. Okay, so let's set these two props, pet and is adopted, and that's going to equal this dot props. And this is an ES6 way of just setting those variables. This is basically saying, if you haven't seen it yet, although I think by this point in the curriculum you've seen it, this dot props dot pet, if I remember my syntax correctly. So it's just taking care of assigning those for us without us having to do a couple lines of code. That is adopted. Okay, now use the attributes in this data to render the pet card correctly. So the pet prop is going to have attributes, and it should have a name, type, age, and weight, and then gender too. And then with the gender, we're going to decide which symbol to give it. So you should also have these props. So name, or not props, attributes. Name, type, age, weight, gender. And this we can set to pet. So we're doing the same thing. Pet's going to be an object, and we're assigning these variables based on that object. That is pet. So now we have all our variables. We have our gender, should have an is adopted prop. We have that prop. And render the correct button should have an on adopt pet callback prop. So where do we put that? When the pet's ID gets called with the pet's ID, when the user clicks the adopt pet button. So here's our adopt pet button. So this should have, when it's clicked, so on click will be, what am I going to call this? This dot on adopt pet, so handle adopt pet. Pet. Okay. And then we'll need a function up here for that. Handle adopt pet. And we'll mess with that in a minute. So now we need to use these variables. Let's see what our tests are telling us at this point in time. I actually might just open a terminal so I can switch back and forth, and it'll be easier to see. Code tabs. All right. I'm going to close this so we have more space over here. All right. All right. Test, test, test. So app filters, pet, browser. Okay. So render the name, gender. So these are all rendering things. Okay, so let's look at this. Render the name. So where's our name? Pet name. It's right here. Let's put our name. And then we should have a gender. And we can do this right in line. Right here. So gender is male. Let's call it. And then we'll have either male or female icon symbol. I don't know how to type these symbols, so hopefully I can copy and paste them in. Yes. Okay. So if gender is equal to male, we give the male icon, else we give the female icon. Okay. Type. So let's throw the type in here. Age can go right here. Weight can go right here. All right. Now is adopted. So what are we doing with is adopted? Using this prop, render the correct button on the pet's card. Okay, so if it's adopted, we're going to want this. If it's not adopted, we're going to want this. All right. Based on the pet's button on the pet's card, if the pet is adopted, show the disabled button. Disabled button right here. Otherwise, show the primary button. Okay. So we'll do the same thing. We'll throw some JavaScript in here. So let's say not is adopted, which means it's not adopted. Then what should we do? Oh, yeah. Let's throw and in here. So what we're saying, and then we'll put this inside there. What we're saying here is this side of the and is going to evaluate true always. So if this is true, this will happen. But if this isn't true, if this run is false, then we're never going to see that. And then we'll follow a similar pattern here. We say is adopt. Okay. So that should handle that logic for us. It should be fine that way. Okay, one more thing left in this component. Well, let's look at our tests. What are our tests saying? Oh, keep scrolling. We only have 11 failing now, so some stuff is passing. Oh, look. Name, gender icon, pet type, age, weight. Okay. Pet is not adopted. It should only show the adopt pet button. Okay. It is already adopted, so our button's working. We need our callback prop. Okay. So now we have our callback. Handle adopt pet. This is saying this callback prop gets called with the pet's ID when the user clicks the adopt pet button. Not when they click the disabled button. Okay. So it's unclick on the right one down here. And then, so this dot okay, so this is a callback prop. So on.pet is being passed into this component via props. So this is going to be this dot props dot on adopt pet. And as a callback, it's a function. And then it needs the pet ID. Excuse me. So we don't have any state or data in this component. We only have the props that are passed to it. Excuse me. So the pet's ID, gonna guess this.props.pet.id, because we have a pet prop, and the pet has an ID according to this. Let's see what our test says. Let's say this dot props dot on dot pet. Okay, maybe it doesn't have this on a dot pet prop yet, which is possible. So I'm actually going to go back and start at the top of the tests at app, because I think we should start at the top at app. And this is where I think this lab is confused. If you're following along on the README, you're starting from basically the bottom component and working backwards. However, the data flow for React is one way, and it flows top down. So the data is actually starting here. Here's our state with our pets and our adopted pets and our filters and everything else, and flowing to these components. So I think going to the app, which is our top level component, will get us there a little bit better. All right. The app's initial state is already defined. Yes, Brad. Well, it's not showing. I just opened another terminal window. So it's just sitting over here now. It's in a different window. Oh, I see. I forgot that I shared just this application, not the whatchamacallit, not my old desktop. So there, I'll open that back up, no problem. So back to what I was just talking about. Yeah, so you should call it on a dot pet callback prop. Here are our tests at this point in time. Sorry about that. I forgot what I was sharing. I'll just read this from a different window, and I'll put the tests over here. This will look a little bit better. And move to right. There we go. And this should scroll as we do our thing. And then I'll just read this from a different window, because everybody has this README somewhere. Okay, so the app's initial state is already defined. Pass the right state properties to the filters and pet browser components. Okay. And the filters component calls the onChange type prop. You must pass into it. App state needs to update accordingly. Okay. So let's see what our tests are. Filters, fetching pets, adopting pets. So it looks like for the most part, our app is going to have raised state. So things are going to be happening and stuff below it, and the state is going to change up here in the app. All right, filters, pet browser, constructor, we have our state. Let's see. Here's our filters. All right. So we need to pass. All right, let's start passing stuff down. So filters should change filter type. So we're going to need to pass a callback called onChangeType. And this is going to be, and this gets confusing, passing callback functions, because you want to name them well, but then you can't pass them with the same name because then you get confused. So you have to name them something different but similar. Let's call this this dot handle change filter type. All right. I'm just going to put this down here because we should pass a couple more things. What else? When filters component calls on find pets click. So it has another thing on find pets click. So let's name that this dot handle, or this dot, let's call it find pets. Excuse me. App component should fetch a list of pets using fetch. Okay. And let's see if we can find anything else that filter needs. And then filters, we're walking up in the README to the filters component. The first thing it says, it should have a filters prop that contains all of the filters in the app state. So we need to pass it filters. So let's do that. Filters prop equals this dot state dot filters. Okay. So from the README, it looks like that's everything that our filters are going to need. So let's handle these callbacks now. First thing, handle change filter type. And I'll do these a couple different ways to demonstrate. But let's do this one like this. And now to bind this, we need to bind this with inside of this. Too many thises. But this handle change filter type equals this dot handle change filter type dot bind this. And this will allow it to handle the event, because now we've bound the proper this with the function. There's a better wording and explanation for it in the React docs of why you do that in state, and I think it's in the life cycles. They just wrote it way better than I could explain it because I keep saying this. and it's confusing. But basically this, by binding this inside of the constructor, it knows that it's working with this inside of this component. I think I'm saying that right. But okay, so we're going to want to change the filter type. So right now we have a type of all. Is.set state. We're going to be changing our filters. Actually, we're going to have an event in here, because this is going to pass back that event, something happening. And actually, we'll leave that at that for now. When we get into the filter component, we'll see what we're going to actually be doing. Or it's an app test. On change type. Okay. It looks like we just set it to whatever's passed through. Unchange type, and it's a string. So we can do that. Filters, type. We go with the event. Okay, happy with that for now. We'll see what happens when we get to the actual filter. Oh, we're at 10. Something's passing. That's passing now. Oh, she changed filter type. So it does change the filter type. Okay, so the test is passing. That should be good. What's the other one? On find pets click. Here, I'll actually put this right here. Here's another way to write this. As an arrow function. If you write this callback as an arrow function, you don't need this line, because the arrow function has an implicit this that it binds to inside of it. So basically what we're doing here, the arrow function is taking care of for us. I surprisingly never liked doing this, but I've come to prefer it. I just think it's more verbose, so people know what's going on a little bit more. I think over time, this will become probably more used, and people will understand the implicit binding of arrow functions, but I don't think everybody gets that yet, or why they're using it. So I think this is just clearer at this point in time. All right, find pets click. So this is actually supposed to be our fetch. Fetch a list of pets using fetch. All right, so the URL for the API is /API/pets with an optional query parameter. So set our URL to that. All right. If type is all, send a request to /API/pets. If the type is cat, pets $type equals cat. Same thing for dog or micropig. Okay. Oh, those are all our categories. All cat, dog, micropig. I got it. It's coming together. Finally, set the pet data on the state property pets to properly pass them to the pet browser component. Okay. So Let's think. What's the best way to do this? So we have one case where it's going to say pets, and the other 3 times it's doing a query string. So if, and we're setting the type is in the state. Okay, so this.state.type. Wait, filters type. Filters.type. If that's not equal to all, or the string all, then we want to take our URL and add onto it our type equals, and then our string interpolation. All right, what's it passing back? On pets click. Okay, this.state.filters.type. Okay. So if it's all, we just stick to just like this. If it's something else, we append onto our URL a type and the string. Okay. Making sense? Hopefully. And then we do our fetch. So fetch URL. Do then response, and take a response and do JSON on it. And then take that, and I'll call it pets for ease of reading. And we can do this dot set state, and we'll put the pets data in there. Looks like the tests are mad. Because I sent this to const. Let. And that's why tests are very helpful. Good tests, at least. Okay, so we're still moving along. Fetch all pets by default, which it does. Fetch pet types using the type parameters based on the filter, which it does. All right, something's not going right now. This is a filter type. Okay. Well, we'll keep moving because I honestly think we'll figure it out. Or this app is also, even though it's a small app, tightly woven together, at least as far as desks go. So I think it'll come together. All right. So I think we've got our, when pet browser component calls the unadopt pet prop, pet browser. This needs something on adopt pet prop. We pass into it, add the pet ID to the adopted pets array in the state. Okay, this one will be a little bit simpler, I think. So let's just say handle adopt pet. Yeah, I think that's good. Unadopt pet, handle adopt pet. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's create that too. Handle adopt pet. I'll do it this way this time. Let's call it pet, because that's what we're going to be handling. This dot set state, and we're going to be adding adopted pets, so we can use our spread operator. This dot state dot adopted pets, and just tack our pet on there. And that'll be good. Should be good. 9. So yes, something's passing now. Should add an adopted pet ID to the state? Yes. I don't know why fetching isn't looking good right now, but we'll figure it out. Okay. So let's go to our filters component. I'll open this one up too, so it's already open. All right. Set the value of the animal type select to the right filter value. Filters prop that contains all the filters in the app state. Got that one. Should have an onChange type callback prop. Got that. Gets called whenever the value of the select element changes. It calls it with the value of the select, and then should have an onFind pets click callback prop, which we have. This callback prop gets called when the user clicks on find pets button. Okay. So since we've passed everything into this already, this shouldn't be too difficult to wire up now. So we are going to have, let's see, we have our select type, and then we're going to need to fire this and change this dot handle change. We can do it this way. I think it could be simpler, but this will work too. So let's do this. Handle change. You know what? I think I lied to you. I think you still need the bind with the arrow function. Like this. There is a way to use arrow functions, but I think I'm doing it incorrectly with this, if I remember right now. I was just reading about this the other day. There's 2 ways to do it. One way is experimental, or there's 3 ways. One way is like this with the bind. One way is considered experimental, I was reading. So they basically say use at your own risk. And then the other way is to put the arrow function here, and then you bind it there. I just wanted to make sure that was right. Okay. Where were we? Filters. Handle change. This will have an event. Oh, yeah, handle change. And then let's do that here. This dot handle change. This dot handle change dot find this. All right. When this handle change, we'll do this dot props dot, what do we call it? On change type with event value. This will also need to get that event value. And this value will change based on the state that is being passed down to it. So this value becomes this dot props dot filters dot type. So we're connecting it all so that it stays. So when we're going to have a value here. So when let's say we select cat. This handle change is going to pass it up to app. And then we're going to hit unchanged. Unchanged type here. And then that's going to pass it to here. Just going to pass it to here with the info, the event. It's going to change the state. When the state is changed, this state filters is going to pass back down to the filter with a fresh state. And that's going to change this, which is going to update the value of what is selected. With React, we kind of jump in the middle with a lot of the forms and what they do, but it allows us to do a lot of stuff. I think something's broken. Oh, no, it's not. Seven tests, down to 7 failures. We're getting there. Should set the value of the animal type. Should call the onChange top. Okay. Should call onFind pets right here. So on click. Should call onFind pets. Click. Is that it? No. We went up to 9. Oh, that's right. It's a callback. This dot props. 6. Here we go. All right. 16 passing, 6 failing. Okay. So there's nothing left in filters from what I see. So let's close filters. Let's look at the pet browser. All right, 2 errors over here. Should render the pet components based on its props. Okay, so props. So we need pets, it looks like. What does the README say? Go back to the README. I always skip the README. Should have a pets prop. Yep, pets. This is an array of pets the component uses. All right, array of pets. So pets. This dot state pets. All right. Should have an onAdopt pet prop. Got that one. Should have an adopted pets prop. What is this going to be? Use this prop to figure out if a pet is adopted or not, and pass that result to the pet component in the form of an isAdopted prop. So we're going to want adopted pets passed in. I'm going to think. Okay, so now all of our data is flowing down to our pet browser in props. So let me think. Let's see what's going on over here. Oh. Should you render pet components based on its props? Ah, so this needs to be pet. No, that didn't do what I thought. Okay. Lost star. This looks weird. I feel like that's what's supposed to happen. Pet. And then what does pet need? Pet is looking for the pet. And is adopted. Okay. We need to map through this, looks like. So actually inside of our render, pets is going to equal this dot props dot pets dot map. Pet index arrow function, and then we're going to render pet component with the pet being equal to the pet and the key being equal to the index, and on dot pet equal to, you have to pass keys when using map with React. That's how React keeps track of the differences between each component, since it does a lot of stuff very intelligently for us. That's how it knows the difference between the pieces. On adopt pet is dot props dot on adopt pet. And why is this thing yelling at me? Let's what else is adopted equals this dot props dot adopted pets, because we have that array passed in. We can, let's do includes. And then we have our pet ID. Something that's missing. Let's see. Pet. Oh, we need a backslash. There we go. Still yelling at me about this. Expression statement is not assignment or call. I'm not going to worry about that. Let's see. No, I don't know why. It's limiting me into oblivion right now for this, but it looks fine to me. Arrow function. All right, so this is how we're rendering all our list of pets, which is going to be equal to pets, and then right here, just throw in pets, because those are all the pet components. 6. Should pass an on.pet callback, does it? And it's adopted pet. Is adopted prop callback, okay. All right, let's see, what's wrong? Should render pet components based on its props. That's what we're doing here. Render pets. All right. Tell me if you're seeing it. Let me do this again.
Hey, Seth, this is Brad. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
One thing I see different is that there's a, and not that I found it, not or take credit for it. I see a semicolon right above return, a semicolon. Yeah.
Oh, right there.
Yeah, but I have no idea if that's the only difference I see.
Yeah, that doesn't have to be there. This IDE I use is pretty smart, so I think this yellow line is telling me something, but it looks fine to me. Which are not assignments or calls. Yeah, whenever I see something that says normally the result of programmer error in this IDE, I'm usually screwing something up somewhere. Pet index. Adopt pet. This dot props. Dot on adopt pet.
Do you have a starting bracket after index on line 7 and then no bracket to close it? Because I have a open parentheses there. So after index and then the hash rocket, that last symbol is set, it shows a curly bracket.
Yeah, that's what it is. I think. There we go. That should be it.
Oh, a pain in the butt.
Yes, because this is map. This isn't like an arrow function, which would have, or it is an arrow function, but yeah, it's different. All right. 4 tests failing. Cool. Almost there. And I'll probably say welcome to the people who are joining us. I use the same link for Woeful Wednesday because it starts in a couple minutes. We're finishing up right here, and then we're going to go into that. All right. So this is good. So we just got pet and app.js, a couple tests. Let's see what's left. All pets by default. Excuse me. Which should be doing. Based on the filter. All right. Let's do this instead. See if it's something with the way this test is working. It doesn't like that. This, that state, that filter, that type. Nope, definitely not. Okay. I had something in my code from before. I don't remember why. But I think it, I didn't think I needed it. Let me, filters. I have the spread operator in here. No, I didn't think it did anything. It doesn't seem like it would do anything helpful. All right, so let's look at our error messages. Wrapper props is not a function. Unfind pets click is not a function. Okay, so in our app, unfind pets click this dot find pets. Oh, there we go. This should be this or find pets. That was wrong. That's the confusing yourself that I was mentioning before. Cannot read property filters of undefined. Okay. this dot state dot filters. Oh, I think that is what this is. Nope. It's not undefined. Can't read. Property filters of undefined. Filters is not undefined. It has a default state. This dot state dot filters dot type. It's the same error twice. Cannot read property props of undefined. So this is not getting props for onAdopt pet. So let's look at that. This dot props onAdopt pet. All right, so just passing a couple things the wrong way somewhere. Gotta find it.
Guys.
Hello, people. Just finishing up the last study group real quick. Stuck on this one last piece, and it's all going to turn green. Adopting a pet is not adopted, yet should call the onAdopt pet callback prop when the adopt button is clicked. Handle adopt pet. And then, okay, there we go. It's called onAdopt pet. That was bad. Just have props onAdopt pet. About pet, this handle adopt pet. I think our props are being passed. It's incorrect. Something. Pet browser, onAdopt pet prop. Okay. So we got this. onAdopt pet prop. This is the browser as onAdopt pet. There. I get passed to pet as onAdopt pet. Pet gets it as onAdopt pet. Handle adopt pet calls onAdopt pet. It's not getting there for some reason. I don't know. I'm stuck. All right. Well, I think I'm going to call it on this lab right now because I'm not sure what's exactly going on with it. Because this should be working down the way that it says. This dot props dot. Yeah. Thank you guys that came to see this lab that I still think is confusing and should be rewritten. And yeah, I'm going to figure out why this didn't pass. Because now I want to know. But for everybody else who's joining, welcome. And I'm going to stop this.